Good afternoon, students. So, yesterday we were doing sums, correct? And we had done this derivation. So, today we are going to start Ampere's circuital law. Okay? Ampere's circuital law. So, yesterday itself, I have told you that this law is very, very important. Okay? This law is very, very important. Ampere's circuital law. Okay? Now, just see here Ampere's circuital law. So, all of you have studied electrostatics till now. Okay? And if I say that what is the importance of Gauss law, okay, what is the importance of Gauss law, okay, so you will say that Gauss law is a method, okay, which gives us the electric field intensity at a point, correct? If I ask you that why do you use Gauss law? So generally, why do we use Gauss law? We use Gauss law in order to calculate the electric field at a point, correct? Yes or no? Okay. So when we use Gauss law to find electric field, so if I ask you, are we having only Gauss law to do that? Yes or no? No, we don't have only Gauss law. We don't have only Gauss law to do this. Okay, we even have the Coulomb's law. Okay, we can determine electric field at a point using Coulomb's law also. Correct? Yes or no? We can determine electric field due to a charged body, okay, at a point due to the Coulomb's law also. Okay, so we have both Coulomb's law as well as Gauss law. We have both Coulomb's law as well as the Gauss law to calculate the electric field at a point. Okay, so same way here also in magnetostatics. Okay, in this magnetism chapter also we have studied Biot-Savart's law, which used to give us the magnetic field at a point. Okay, and then we are having Ampere's circuital law. Okay, so which is also used to give the magnetic field at a point. Now, why we are having two methods? Can anyone tell me what are the shortcomings or what are the disadvantages or what all places we use Gauss law? Okay, and what are the places we use Coulomb's law? Okay, yes, can anyone tell me that why do we use Gauss law or at what all places we can use Gauss law very easily? Can anyone tell me that? Yes, in electrostatics you would have studied. Any answer? In electrostatics, enclosed surface, symmetric at infinite wire in a spherical conductor, we can use Gauss law to find electric field in a closed surface. Okay, so just see here, I'm telling you that in electrostatics we had two things. Okay, we had two things. One is we used to find out the electric field. We used to find out the electric field using the Coulomb's law. Okay, so one we had was Coulomb's law. Okay, and the second we had was the Gauss law. Gauss law. Now, both were used to find out. Both were used to find out the magnetic field. Used to find out. Okay, to find magnetic field. Okay, sorry, electric field, not magnetic field, electric field. We used to find out the electric field. But what was the area, or what were the places where we used Gauss law? So if I ask you that, so you should say that all the places where we had symmetric charges, okay, symmetric charge distribution, okay. So in symmetric cases, in symmetric cases, we used Gauss law. Okay. In symmetric cases, we used Gauss law. If you can remember the case, okay, where you had this cube, and at this end you were keeping, at this end, if I keep a charge, okay. So what were you doing? This is not symmetric. So you were making it symmetric. You were making this symmetric. Okay. So what you were doing? You were placing more cubes like this. Okay. You are placing more cubes like this. Yes or no? You are placing more cubes like this. Understood? So what were you doing? You were making this symmetric. You are making this symmetric. Correct? Suppose you would have done this numerical also. You would have done this numerical also, that this is a plate, a square plate. Okay. And from this square plate at a distance of a by 2, if a charge was there. So what you did? You constructed a cube out of it. You constructed a cube out of it, correct? And then this has become in middle. This has become in middle. Okay. So this is now symmetric. So what you had done, that Gauss law, you had calculated for the symmetric cases only, symmetric surface. Okay. So this was Gauss law. Same as this in magnetism. Okay. Or if I say in magnetostatics. Okay. In magnetostatics, we are having one law we have already studied, which is Biot-Savart's law, Okay. And the second one is the one we are going to study, which is Ampere's circuital law. Okay. Now these two are used to find out the magnetic field. These are used to find out magnetic field. Okay. Magnetic field at a point. Okay. But if I ask you where you can use Ampere's law, if I say, or if I tell you that where I can use Ampere's law, so it is same as Gauss law. It is same as Gauss law. Okay. It is same as Gauss law. So in symmetric cases, we will be using this. Okay. In symmetric cases, we will be using this. Okay. In symmetric cases, we are going to use this Gauss law, Ampere's circuital law. Okay. Ampere's circuital law will be using in the symmetric cases. Okay. So this Ampere's circuital law is a very, very important topic. Okay. It's a very, very important topic. Understood? You will have definitely one question. Okay. You will definitely have one question from this. Either it's NEET, JEE, or bold. One question will be definitely there. One question will be definitely over there. Okay. From this Ampere's circuital law. So this is having same importance as that of Gauss law in electrostatics. Okay. And what Gauss law was having that importance in electrostatics, you can understand that importance and you can just replicate it here. The same level, the same importance level. Okay. So let us start now. What is Ampere's circuital law now? Okay. Let us start with that. Now, what does this law states? Okay. What does this law states? First, I'll write down this. It's a statement. Okay. First, I'll write down its a statement, and then we will understand it. Okay. Then we will understand it. So it says that, okay, it states that line integral of magnetic field, okay, line integral. In Gauss law, you had surface integral, okay. In Gauss law, you had surface integral, E dot ds. You had E dot ds, that was surface integral. Here we have line integral, okay. So what is this? Line integral. So line integral of magnetic field around a closed loop, around a closed loop, okay, is mu naught times, okay, mu naught times is mu naught times, okay, current enclosed, okay, current enclosed or current passing. So current, either you say enclosed, okay, or you say passing, or you say in some books also you say threading, okay. So line integral of magnetic field around a closed loop is mu times the current enclosed or the current passing or the current threading through it, current threading through it. And when I say it, this means closed loop. When I say it, that means I am talking about the closed loop. So read this line again, okay. Read this line again, because this is a statement of the Ampere's circuital law. This is a statement of the Ampere's circuital law, okay. And this is very, very important. This statement is very, very important, okay. Line integral of magnetic field around a closed loop is mu times, okay, is mu times the current enclosed, or if I say passing, or if I say threading through it, okay. So let us write down the mathematical analysis, okay. Mathematically, how we will write it. So mathematically, how do we write it? Mathematically, how do we write it? So line integral of magnetic field. So magnetic field should be there, and line integral is this. Line integral is this. Okay. So this is the symbol of line integral. This is the symbol of line integral. This is the symbol of line integral. Can you see this? This is the symbol of line integral. This one. This one is the symbol of line integral. So line integral of magnetic field, okay, around a closed loop, you will be having a loop, okay, is equal to mu times, okay, mu times the current enclosed in it. So current enclosed in it, a current passing through it, a current threading through it, okay. So this is current enclosed. So this is the mathematical statement for this, okay. This is the mathematical statement for this. Mathematically, we will write it like this. Mathematically, we will write it like this. Is it okay? Now, let us understand it. Okay, let us understand it. We have understood the definition. That is, what is line integral? How do we write it? Okay, how we define this Ampere's circuital law, and how we'll write in a mathematical form. Okay, so let us see how is it like that. How actually we are seeing this. Okay, now if I ask you one thing, okay, if I ask you that suppose this is a current, okay, so this current is coming towards you, yes or no? This current is coming towards you, correct? This current over here, okay, the current that I have drawn is coming towards you, yes or no? So if this current is coming towards you, fine. And if I ask you to draw the direction of magnetic field, okay, how the magnetic field will be in the region, okay. I'm asking you first thing, just remember what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, okay, direction of magnetic field in region. Just understand, I'm asking you in a region. So when I ask you that what is the direction of magnetic field in a region, so you will draw a circle, okay, a circle like this, okay, and it will be like concentric circles. It will be like concentric circles, correct? It will be like concentric circles. It will be like concentric circles. Yes. Okay. If I ask you the direction, so it will be like clockwise or anti-clockwise? It will be clockwise or anti-clockwise? Will it be clockwise or anti-clockwise? Yes. Will it be clockwise or anti-clockwise? It will be anti-clockwise. It will be anti-clockwise. It will be anti-clockwise like this. Okay. If I ask you, what is a magnetic field at this point? If I ask you now, what I'm asking, the second thing, what I'm asking you, just see. This is the point P. Okay. If I ask you direction of magnetic field at P point. If I ask you what is the direction of magnetic field at point O, okay, at O. If I ask you what is the direction of magnetic field at Q, okay. So how will you draw that? How will you draw that? See here, you have to draw the tangent at that point. Okay, this is not a new thing to you. This is not a new thing to you. I have already told all these things. Okay. So at P point, what you will do? You will draw a tangent like this. Okay. You will draw a tangent like this. Like this. Okay. And the direction will be like this. Correct. At point O, okay, you will draw again a tangent like this. Okay. And its direction will be like this. At Q point, how you will draw? You will draw a tangent like this and it will have a direction like this. It will have a direction like this. Okay. So this is how we determine the direction in the region and the direction of magnetic field at a point. Okay. So these are the points, remember. These are the points where I had asked you the magnetic field. Okay. I'm discussing this because I'm going to use this concept. Okay. We are going to use this concept. So I just wanted that you are aware of this. Okay. I just wanted you to recall this thing. Okay. Because we are going to use this. Okay. Now, if you have understood this thing, okay. If you have understood this thing, okay. So let me take a wire. Let me take a, okay. Let me take a wire now. Okay. A wire. So before taking wire, let me consider a loop. So we have any random loop, suppose. We have this random loop, okay? And a current is passing through it, okay? A current is passing through it. So suppose this is the current, okay? This is the current which is passing through it. This is the current which is passing through it, okay? And the direction of the current is this. The direction of the current is this, I. This is the direction of the current, okay? So it is going upward. And we have considered a loop. We have considered a loop, okay? We have considered a loop over here. Fine. Now I want to check this relation. I want to check this relation whether is this correct or not. I want to verify this relation, okay? What I'm going to do, we are going to verify this relation over here. Using that loop, we are going to verify this relation, okay? Is this relation correct or not? Is this relation correct or not? Okay. We are going to just verify that relation. Okay. Now, for verifying that, okay, we have to cut the elements. We have to cut the elements. Okay. How we will cut the elements? Just see here. Just see here. If I take one element here, the another element like this, the another element like this, I'm cutting it into sections. I'm cutting this into sections. Okay. I'm cutting this into sections like this. Each section, okay, I have cut 4 sections, okay. You can cut as many as you want. So this is d theta 1, this is d theta 2, this is d theta 3, and this is d theta 4, and so on I can cut, okay. So this is the angle subtended by the part, okay, the portions. Now, if you can see this, if you can see this portion, if you can see this portion over here, okay, if you can see this portion over here, if you can see this portion here, and if you can see this portion over here, okay, this portion, and this portion, 4 different portions, okay. So what I'm saying that these are lengths, okay. So these are dl1, dl vector 1, this is dl vector 2, these are dl vector 3, and these are dl vector 4. Correct? Understood? Now I'm zooming it, okay, so that it is better for you to understand, okay. Now can you tell me what is the direction of dl1? How can I find out the direction of dl1? Along the length, just see here, if this is the straight wire, if this is the straight wire, okay, this is the L length, okay, this is of L length. And if I cut this element, and if I ask you what is the DL, okay, DL vector, because DL is a DL is a vector. So what is the DL vector now? So you will say that this is the DL now. Over here, you will say that yes, this is the direction of DL vector. This is the direction of DL vector. And the length DL is this, and the magnitude is this, the direction is shown by the arrow. Correct? So you are going along the wire. You are going along the wire. Okay. So similarly here also. What you will do, the DL, okay, the DL1 will be along this line. DL2 will be along this along this. DL3 will be along like this. Okay. And DL4 will be along this. Okay. If you have any confusion, so it is along the tangent at that point, because the elements are there. So elements will be very, very small. The elements will be very, very small. And if they are small sized, okay, like a point sized, so anyway, you have to draw like a tangent. Okay. Anywhere like this, if you have, it is drawn like a tangent. Okay. Now, if I ask you, what is the direction of magnetic field at these points? Now, if I ask you, what is the direction of magnetic field at these points? So the direction of magnetic field at these points will be what? Direction of magnetic field direction is like this. So this is B1. For this, it is B2. For this, it is B3. And for this, it is B4. Okay. Now, if you have understood this thing, okay, the DL vector is along the tangent about that point, okay, because that element what you have considered, okay, just for visualization, just for understanding, we draw the elements which is larger in size, which are visible. But practically, when you cut an element, it is very, very fine in size, okay, very, very small in size. Fine. So the DL vector as well as magnetic field at those points will be at the tangent. Okay, that's why I was recalling this concept. Okay, this concept of the this magnetic field at a point. Okay. Now, so here, if I ask you that BDL vector now, line integral of BDL vector we have to do. Okay, line integral of BDL vector we have to do. Okay, so line integral of BDL corresponding to this complete loop. Okay, so I can write it as see here, I can write it as B1 DL1 cos of theta 1. Okay, sorry, that is theta. So I'm taking this as alpha. I'm taking this as alpha 1 plus B2 D2 DL2 cos of alpha 2 plus B3 DL3 cos of alpha 3, where alpha 3 is the angle, because we have a dot product. Okay, we have dot product, that's why I'm taking alpha 1 and cos of alpha 1 and alpha 2. Okay, if it would have been a cross product, we would have taken this as sine. Okay, because this is a dot product, that's why I'm taking cos of alpha 3 alpha 4 like that. and alpha will be the angle between B vector and DL vector. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the value of alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 4, and so on? What are these values? Can you tell me? What are these values? If you see here, what is the angle? What is the angle between B1 and DL1? What is the angle between B1 and DL1? B2 and DL2. Everywhere is it 0 or is it having some value? Yes. What is the angle between B1 and DL1, B2 DL2, B3 DL3, B4 DL4? Yes, it is. Is it? It is 0. Good. It is 0. So if it is 0, so I can put them as 1. I can put them as 1. Okay. I can write them as 1. So here I can write them here. I'm writing it over here. Okay. Cos of alpha 1, cos of alpha 2, and so on. Okay. These all our values are having 1. Okay. Because alpha 1 is equals to alpha 2 is equals to alpha 3, all are having value 0. Okay. Now, so now see here, what do we have now? B dot DL, okay, B dot DL will be equal to B1 DL1 plus B2 DL2 plus B3 DL3 plus and so on. What is the value of magnetic field? Yes, what is the value of magnetic field due to a small wire? Yes, see here, this is the magnetic, this B1 is what? B1 is what? Magnetic field at this cross section due to what? Infinite wire. Due to what? Infinite wire. So due to infinite wire, okay, what is the magnetic field value over there? What is the magnetic field value over there? Due to infinite wire, suppose this is an infinite wire, okay, and this is the point. So how did you calculate the magnetic field? B is equals to mu naught I by 4 pi r, okay, 4 pi r into 2 into 2. Why? Because sine of phi 1 and sine of phi 2, phi 1 phi 2 becomes what? 90 degrees. So that's why that 2 is coming. Okay, that's why this 2 is coming. So the same way I'm writing it over here. Okay, the value of B1 C, I'm writing it as mu naught, okay, 2I divided by 4 pi R1. I will write as R1 because this distance, okay, this distance from here to here, okay, this is R1. Suppose this is R2, this is R3, this is R4, this will be R5, R6. So this distance will be different. So I'm taking those distances, okay, plus mu naught 2I divided by 4 pi R2 into DL2 plus mu naught 2I divided by 4 pi R3 DL3 plus and so on, like that we can write this. Now 2 mu naught I divided by 4 pi I can take outside, okay, and then I can write DL1 divided by R1 plus DL2 divided by R2 plus DL3 divided by R3 plus and so on. Is it okay? Now, what is L by R? What is L by R? Just see here. Just see here. If this is the loop, okay, this is L. This is L. This is L. This distance is DL. This is R. This one is R. Okay. What will be theta? What will be theta? Yes. R theta will be equal to DL. So theta will be what? DL by R or not? Yes or no? dl by r is what? Theta. Using the arc length. So arc length is equals to what? So I'm writing it over here. I'm using the concept of arc length. Okay. So arc length, which is dl, will be equal to r into d theta. This is what I'm going to use over here. This is what I'm going to use over here. Okay. So just substitute these values. Just substitute these values. So 2 mu naught I by, so 2 I'm cancelling it. So this will become 2 pi. Okay. Now what is dl by r1? This is d theta 1. What is dl2 by r2? This is d theta 2. What is dl3 by r3? This is d theta 4, plus and so on. Okay. Now if I add like this, dl d theta 1 plus d theta 2 plus d theta 4 completely from this side to this side. Okay. So what will I get? What will I get? What will I get up to here? D theta n, up to d theta n. If I completely add, what will I get this? Yes. $360. Will I get $360? So $360 is written as what? $360 is written as what? $360, if can I write it as 2 pi? $360, can I write as 2 pi? $360, can I write as 2 pi? If yes, so what do I get now? Mu naught I. What I am getting? Mu naught I. Yes. Yes or no? Yes. I can write it as 2 pi, and then I'm getting mu naught I. I'm getting mu naught I. Okay. Now just see here, I want to illustrate one more point over here itself. I want to illustrate one more point. Okay. How you got 2 pi there? I'm adding the complete angle here. See here, if this is the loop, okay, and if I add completely like this is d theta, d theta, d theta, d theta, d theta, everywhere d theta is there. So completely, if I add, if I go one circle, how much will I get? Will I get 2 pi only, na? No matter what is the shape, the complete one revolution is bringing, if it is bringing me initially at that point, so it is 2 pi only, na? Yes, it is 2 pi only. Okay. Now just see here. This is the result when I have got when I have taken a random loop. Okay, I have taken a random loop and I have got this result. Suppose if I change the shape of this loop, suppose if I change the shape of the loop, okay, and if I say that no, this is my current will be the same, okay, my current will be the same way, but now I will have this as my loop, okay, I will have this as my loop. So now this is the direction of current. Okay, this is the direction of current, and now my loop is this. So will my answer change? Will my answer change or not? Yes or no? No, it will not change. Very good. It will not change. Okay. If I take like a loop like this, if I take a loop like this, any like this, okay, and if I take a current like this, will my answer change? No, it will not change again. So what is this actually telling us? What is this actually telling us? That this result does not depends, this result does not depends upon what kind of loop you have taken. The result does not depends upon what kind of loop you have taken. Okay, like in Gauss law, it does not depends upon what kind of surface you have chosen. Okay, it does not depends upon what kind of surface you have chosen. So the same way, here, the Amperian loop can be of any shape. The Amperian loop, okay? So I'm writing that statement, okay? So we can state from here. that Empyrean loop, okay, like you call it as Gaussian surface. So here we will call it as a Empyrean loop. So Empyrean loop can be of any shape, can be of any shape, can be of any shape. Okay, so this is a very, very important line. This is a very, very important line. Okay, so you can have a loop of any shape. You can have a loop of any shape that you want. Okay, you can have a loop of any shape. It does not depends upon the shape. The result will not depend upon what shape you have. Okay, understand, I have written shape, not size. I have not written length. Okay, length will, if you increase the length, if you change a dl vector, then it will change. Okay, I have spoken about, I'm speaking about shape, not size. Shape. Okay, until and unless dl vector is same or the magnitude of dl is same, okay, the result is not going to change for us. Okay, now we are going to see one example. Now we are going to see one example based on this. Now we are going to see one example based on this. Okay, so application, now we will see the application. What is the doubt? Just ask now itself. If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask now itself. Application of Ampere's circuital law. I told you now. How is this 2 pi is coming? See here. If this is the current carrying wire, okay, if this is the current carrying wire and this is my loop, this is my loop, okay, so this is my current carrying wire and this is my loop. Fine. Okay, so this is my loop. Now if I take, this is d theta 1, this is d theta 2, this is d theta 3, this is d theta 4, this is d theta 5, and this is d theta 6. So if I add complete d theta 1 to 6, what is the result, Nagaraju? Yes, what is the result? Nagaraju. If I add from d theta 1 to d theta 3, what is the result? Yes, 360, because you are moving in one circle, complete one circle you are doing. Okay, so 360 I can write it as 2 pi. The same thing I have done. What I have done, I have added, I have written up for this, I have written for this, I have written for this, written for this, written for this, and I have written for this, and then I'm adding for complete, because you have to calculate the current, you have to make a closed loop. Na? You cannot take from here, you cannot only take from here to here. No, you have to make a closed loop. How will you make a closed loop? By making like this, na? Or this is the closed loop? No, this is not the closed loop, na? You will make a closed loop like this, correct? So for closed loop, you will integrate completely, you will integrate from here to here completely. In this figure, don't think that this is the only loop. How can this be a loop? If you're thinking this is a loop, then how it can be a loop? Yes, this is not a loop. I have not shown you completely. I will not completely write like this. No, I'm doing like this. Okay, this completely have been added. Okay, this complete have been added. Understood? I cannot draw for everything. Na? If I cannot draw everything like this, try to understand that thing. Okay, you have to consider the loop. So loop is not this. The loop is completely from here to here. The loop is completely from here to here. Okay, you don't have a loop from here to here. Then what you have doubt? How did we get 2 on beginning of the sum? How did we get 2 on beginning of the sum? Okay, you are asking about this 2 over here. These 2's which I have got from here. Biot-Savart's law due to an infinite wire. Biot-Savart's law due to infinite wire. What is the result? Biot-Savart's law due to infinite result. Which 2 you are asking? You are asking this 2 only, no? Yes. You are asking about this 2 only, no? So that only, no? It is infinite wire. This is a case of infinite wire. This is a point where I am supposed to calculate the magnetic field. What is the result? We have already studied this. Biot-Savart's law, okay? Magnetic field at a point due to an infinite wire. This is the only result, na? Check your notes. So we are going to see any other else. Anybody else is having any doubt? Anybody else is having doubt? Okay. So first we are going to take for a conductor, cylindrical conductor. Okay. First we are going to take for a cylindrical conductor or a wire. Okay. A cylindrical conductor. If I write a conductor, cylindrical conductor, a cylindrical conductor, okay, or if I write a wire, okay, both are the same thing. Both the things are same. Okay. If it is a conductor, it will have a radius. Okay. It will have a radius. Okay. You don't have to consider the hollow cylinder. You have to consider a solid cylinder over here. Okay. Solid cylinder. Hollow cylinder may also be the case, but that we are not going to take. Okay. If you want, you can derive it on your own. Okay. Now, just see here. Fine. Suppose this is a conductor now. We have this conductor. This is the conductor, okay, which has a radius r, which has the radius r, okay, which has the radius r. Now, if I take a point somewhere outside this cylinder or on this cylinder or inside the cylinder. So I'm taking 3 points, okay. Let me take 3 points. One point is at r distance. One point is at r distance over here. Another point is here. And one point is here. Is it okay? I'm considering 3 points, P, Q, R. Okay. P, Q, R not X, Y, Z. Okay. Or A, B, C. A, B, C are the 3 points. Okay. R is the distance. Okay. This is the distance R. This is the distance R. This is the distance R. And radius is equal to capital R. Radius is capital R. Okay. Radius is equal to capital R. Okay. So this kind of derivation or this kind of things you have done. This kind of thing you have already done. Okay. In electrostatics. Electrostatics, you have already done this. Okay. So we will do it now here. Now here. Okay. So first case, okay. First case is that you have to calculate the magnetic field. Okay. We are supposed to calculate the magnetic field. So calculate magnetic field at A, B and C. okay, at point A, which is at R distance, and R is less than capital R. R is less than capital R first. Second, at point B, where R is equals to capital R. And third one is at C point when R is greater than capital R. So these three things we have to do now. Okay, for these three things we have to do. So let us do for the first one. Let us solve for the first one. Let us solve for the first one. I'm copying this figure. Okay, see here. So I have to calculate for this point R, this point A over here. I have to calculate for this point A. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I will make a loop. I will make a loop like this. I will make a loop like this. Yes or no? I'll make a loop like this. And through this loop, what I will consider, what I will assume that the current is passing like this. As there will be a uniform current, okay, there will be a uniform current passing through it, okay, the current will pass through it like this. So see here, the current would pass through it like this everywhere you will be having a uniform current, okay. Now because now I'm having a loop up to here only, so the current under consideration will be only under this area, it will be only under this area. Is it okay? Fine. So now if I write the Biot-Savart's law, so sorry, Ampere-Circuital law. Okay, Ampere-Circuital law. So what I have to do? B dot dl. I have to write B dot dl. Okay. And it is equals to mu naught I into I enclosed through the loop. Okay. Now, first I'm taking LHS. First I'm taking LHS. Okay. So line integral of B dot dl. Okay. Line integral of B dot dl I am considering. So all of you just see here. I'm zooming it out. Okay. Suppose the current is flowing through this loop. Now. Okay. The current is flowing through this loop. Okay. So if I take this point over here. Okay. So where will be the magnetic field now? How will be the magnetic field now? At point A. So it will go inside. Yes or no? It will go inside. The current is moving from down to up. So the current will go inside. And if the current is going inside, so I will draw a cross over here. And where will be DL vector? Where will be the DL vector? DL vector will also be going inside it. If I take at this point, so the DL vector will be like this, as well as magnetic field vector will be also like this. So everywhere this B dot dl, okay, B dot dl will have a zero angle between them. So I can write it as now B dl, okay, B dl, line integral of B dl, cos theta. Theta value is zero everywhere. Okay. Now, if I integrate for complete, okay, since B is uniform, okay, I can take it out and DL vector. So what is the loop now? What is the circumference now? If I integrate DL, what you will get? If I integrate it, what will I get? 2 pi small r. I will get 2 pi small r. This is LHS. Now RHS turn. RHS is mu naught I. Now, if I'm saying this complete conductor is having I current, so can I say that this loop will also have the same current? If I say that this complete conductor is having I current, so can I say that this loop is also having the same current? Yes or no? No, it's not correct. Why? Because current is uniformly divided over the surface area. Okay, so this total current was divided uniformly over the surface area of pi r square. Right now the current is divided, this enclosed current, is divided for over pi r small r square. So if I cancel it out, so I get I enclosed. Okay, I get I enclosed as I r square divided by capital R square into I. Now substitute this value. Okay, sorry, this is not a square, this is not a square over here. Okay, so now just substitute this value over here. So what will you get? You'll get mu naught I by r square divided by capital R square. Okay, so this is RHS. Now LHS was B2 pi r. RHS is mu naught I r square by capital R square. Okay, then B becomes equal to mu naught I r divided by 2 pi capital R square. Is it okay? This implies magnetic field is directly proportional to R. This implies magnetic field is directly proportional to R. Okay. Explain RHS again. Okay. RHS again you want. Just see here, I'm explaining here itself. How is the current related to area? Is it directly related? Rho L by A. Okay. That is resistance. Okay. So if I write current, so current is directly NEAVD. I is equals to NEAVD. Understood? I is equals to NEAVD. If you can remember current electricity, so I is written as NEAVD. So current is directly proportional to the area about which it is flowing. Correct? It is directly proportional to the area about which it is flowing. Now, if I say that you have this wire and you have a part of the wire. Okay, this, the one which is shaded and the one which is not shaded. Okay, this is a hollow cylinder. I'm assuming a imaginary cylinder in it. Now suppose if I say the current flowing through this complete wire is 10 ampere. Okay, 10 ampere. Now if I say that the current flowing through this is smaller one, okay, this is smaller one, can I say that this is also 10? No, this is wrong. You cannot say that this is also 10. No, this is wrong. It will be divided or it will be distributed as per the area, corresponding to the area. Okay, it will be distributed corresponding to the area. So I is directly proportional to area. Okay, so if I current was flowing through complete area, okay, the area of pi capital R square, so the enclosed current will flow across pi small r square. So now from here only we have calculated it. Okay, so this is kind of unitary method. Calculation you have studied in class 6th. Okay, it is same like 10 bananas are for 20 rupees. Okay, then 7 bananas will be for what rupees? That much. Okay, so if I current is flowing, if I current flows from this complete surface, okay, if I current flows from this complete surface, then how much current will flow from a part of the surface? That's it. That is what we have done here. That is what I have done over here. Okay, so this is the result now. Okay, we will carry out this calculation for remaining 2 points in the next class. Okay, so if you want to draw the graph, okay, if you want to draw the graph, so how you can draw it? It will be drawn like this. This is B, magnetic field. This is R. Okay, so this is here like this. Okay, B directly proportional to R. Okay, so just take the screenshots now. Okay, Do it fast. Meanwhile, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. Meanwhile, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. Nobody is having any doubt. Yes. Nobody is having any doubt. This week test portion is up to galvanometer. Okay. Moving charges in magnetic field. Okay. Moving charges in magnetic field. Force on a current carrying conductor due to external magnetic field. Force on a current carrying conductor due to the external magnetic field. Okay. Then torque on that, torque on loop, force on loop, and galvanometer. Okay. And galvanometer. Up to that you have the this week portion. Okay. What we are doing right now, this will be the coming week. Okay. The coming week portion. So this week portion will be charge in a magnetic field. Okay. Charge in a magnetic field. Then force on a current carrying conductor, force on a current carrying loop, torque on a current carrying loop, as well as galvanometer. Kindly write the portion. You want me to tell also, you want me to write also. Okay. So charge moving on current, charge moving in magnetic field. Charge in magnetic field. Okay, charge in magnetic field. This is the first thing that you have to study. The second thing that you have to see is force. Okay, force on current carrying wire. Okay, force on current carrying wire. Then force and torque. Force and torque on coil. Okay, then galvanometer. Then galvanometer. And here, okay, here cyclotron is also there. Okay, cyclotron is also there. Cyclotron will be also there. So these are the portions. Okay, charge in magnetic field, force on current carrying wire, magnetic field due to wire. Sorry, no, magnetic field due to wire. No, not that topic. Magnetic field due to wire. No, calculation of magnetic field is not there. This week calculation of magnetic field is not there. Okay, this week only external field. Okay, all these things will be in external field. All these things in an external field topics are there. Next week calculation of magnetic field. Okay, next week will be calculation for magnetic field. This week only charge moving in external field, force on a current carrying wire kept in an external field, force and torque on a coil in a external field, galvanometer and cyclotron. Okay, that's it. Today or by tomorrow you will get it officially. If you're not getting it tomorrow, okay, by tomorrow, then I will write it properly and then tell. Okay, although I have written it and told. Okay, so the remaining things we will do it tomorrow. The remaining things in this we will be doing it tomorrow. Okay, thank you.